Please do not harass anybody mentioned in the video. Harassment is not acceptable under any form and will never be okay. All names except for the owner of this SMP and a close friend of mine will be censored out. Now then, on with the video. So, it's been a while since I posted anything about Reaper SMP, and some of you guys might be wondering why. Well, the short end of the story is I'm not associated with those people anymore. To put it lightly, I was mistreated in that community and left after an extreme period of stress. Now, looking at the length of this video, you might be thinking, why on earth would you need a video to tell us that? Well, that's the summary. If you don't want to keep watching after this, that's completely fine. I understand because this video will be dealing with topics like racism, manic episodes, trying to cause problems with a minor. If that's not your bread and butter, that's entirely fine. Stop this video, go watch something else. It's all good. So, a bit of context. I joined Reaper SMP with a friend of mine named Sean back when the third season was going to happen. This was roughly summer of 2024. So, I made a character, sent him in, got accepted. Some really important information about this character and myself is that they are both indigenous. I myself am Mohawk and Mi'kmaq. The character himself was known as Tahoma, somebody who was openly indigenous and whose story was going to deal with indigenous issues of the time. Now that we got that lovely context, here's the first big issue. Skin and Bones. Skin and Bones is a Minecraft mod available on CurseForge. It's a mod that allows you to have certain creatures from indigenous folklore. The thing is, these creatures are made from extremely horrific times of starvation, famine, and freezing to death. These guys are used in a bunch of different horror-related media, and that's a hot topic of debate in the indigenous community as it is. I could sit here and talk about the logistics of it, but we are going to glaze over that for now. Now, the Skin and Bones mod allows you to get collectible items, weapons, and armor for these guys, like typical exploring mods. The mod itself kind of frames them as almost werewolf-like, and it is generally, if you ask me, not great representation of the folklore. So, why is Skin and Bones important? Well, you see, Reaper SMP had a silly little rule that made it so you couldn't have any form of indigenous representation in your characters. To quote, be respectful. Now, I don't know about you, but having a mod that, in a way, makes light of a serious issue that caused an entire folklore to be created isn't exactly what I would call respectful. I want you guys to keep in mind that this rule will be important later, so just put that in the back of your head. I wasn't aware Skin and Bones were in the mod pack until I started playing it, where I was horribly jump scared to see some fleshwalkers on my screen, and to have multiple people say the full names even when I asked them several times if they could just not do that when I was there. So, eventually, I went to the owner, Matt, and I told him my feelings about the mod pack, and I asked if we could change out Skin and Bones for either something else, or just lower the spawn rates. I never asked for it to be deleted, which shouldn't have been a big issue anyway, because Minecraft mods are really easy to delete from servers. I know this because I know how servers work. They are really easy to just remove the file from the config. Matt got back to me, claimed he had no idea that this mod was racist somehow, and that, well, he has an indigenous girlfriend, so he's so sorry, and that he'll remove the mod as fast as he can. It took him over a month. Now, one time is an accident. I don't hold anything against him about this. I just thought it was a simple mistake, maybe a little bit of a misunderstanding, and decided to move on. It's a mod, life happens, it's not the end of the world. Part 2. The rule. Remember how I said that rule was going to come in handy? It's coming in handy now. Here's the original rule. It was updated 3 times. The first time nobody was informed, and it had been seemingly silently removed. I didn't notice this until after the Skin and Bones mod was removed, so I assumed that it was removed because Skin and Bones were gone. I was very interested though as to why it would be removed without saying anything. So, eventually, in a lore-related meeting for the town that my character was a part of, I asked. Matt informed me that he had no idea this rule was removed and said that he would go looking for it. Great, we can move on. It's acknowledging that the rule is gone and that we're gonna go find it. No, apparently not. Matt later came back and said he found where the rule was and that it wasn't removed, but instead cut and pasted into a different rule set. He claimed it was because they were going to be rewriting the rules soon and just forgot to add it back. I have a simple question. How do you forget to add a rule about not being racist in such a specific way? How does that happen? The next time the rule was edited was September 16th of 2024, where its wording was changed into stating that no usages of skins, buildings, character names, or any references to the topic were allowed. Funny thing is, the only character that had any semblance of indigenous heritage was mine, at least openly. His name is Tahoma. It means snow-covered mountain, for God's sakes. So this rule implied that I couldn't even have my character say his name anymore, because it's an indigenous name. This was just doubling down on the issue before. And the last time it was edited, to my knowledge, was September 24th, 2024. Instead, it removed all mentioning of indigenous people. We're happy now, right? There's no mention of specifically calling out a particular race, right? Yeah, no, that rule was actually supervised by me. I practically wrote that rule. I was in a call with one of the admins and I watched him type up that rule using my own wording. That's gotta be it, right? There's no way this could go on for any longer, right? Part 3, the ticket. So, for those who might not know, Discord allows you to add bots to your server, and it allows ticket bots, which is basically a little thing that you can set up to create private messages between the person who sent the ticket request and anybody who has a certain rank in the server. During this meeting, I was told that if I wanted to continue this conversation about the rule, I should have just opened up a ticket instead. So I did. I had this message proofread by Sean because I understand that sometimes I can come across as being aggressive or having a negative tone when I don't mean to. I got a response back by one of the admins and then later Matt himself. This was during an event, so I don't blame Matt for not instantly responding. It's important to manage your events, especially if you're the owner. I want to make that very clear. I do not expect somebody who has a personal life to drop everything in order to deal with the things that I am asking them to. I want to make that clear. I understand having a personal life. However, when Matt did respond, it read as the most passive-aggressive. You know what? Passive-aggressive is too soft of a word. It read as the most aggressive thing I think I've ever read from this man. He was claiming that this was brought up in the wrong place, in the wrong time, which, yeah, it might have been, but based on the fact that this meeting was about lore for this specific town that my character was in, I wanted to do lore-related things with my character, and this rule was stopping me from doing that. Matt also claims that there was no intent of being hurtful, and I don't believe it was. I want to clarify something. I don't believe Matt is a racist. I believe Matt did racist actions, but I don't believe that that makes him racist. People can do racist things without being a racist. Just like I do not believe that this was done with malice intent. But I will say this is incredibly dismissive to claim that this situation is being blown out of proportion when I myself, an indigenous person, is voicing my concerns. After I read this, I did not feel comfortable enough to engage in this by myself. For those that might not know, I have BPD, and that causes me to be very impulsive, have big emotions, go into episodes, and I felt as though I was starting to go into an episode around this point. This one giant paragraph already made me feel as if this was going to be a gang-up conversation, so I wanted somebody who could have at least interpreted my words in a way that I knew wasn't going to be malicious. So I called in reinforcements. I called in my online dad, Sean. Sean took a quick little read and basically just restated my points in a more dressed-up fancy way. I cannot begin to thank you enough for that, Sean. Seriously, as somebody who's mentally ill, it's really hard for me to communicate my feelings. So thank you so much for being able to sit down and rewrite what I was going to say in a way that it's actually readable. Sean offered a few different ways of resolving it. Mainly that phrasing was the worst thing and that it could have been changed a little bit. And Matt? Well, in his first lovely message back, he implied that Sean, a white guy, was the balance to our conversation. I just want to let that microaggression sink in. Let it marinate. He called another white guy the balance. I hate it here! I cannot explain to you the amount of rage I had when I saw that message, the amount of anger. I snapped. I lost it. I ranted and raved and cried about this to Sean as I lost my mind at how somebody could be so ignorant, so blatantly harmful, and then claim that they wanted to progress on lore and push the story as if this conversation is about lore. This conversation is about your racist rule and getting rid of it. Owning up to it is all I wanted. These next few screenshots, I got permission from Sean to show. Sean had decided to privately message Matt, informing him that I was not taking this well, and informing him that saying the balance was beyond unprofessional. Sean also included a message that I wanted to pass on to Matt. Matt did not respond until the 30th. He did not say anything else in the ticket and did not apologize to me. I want to make that clear. Sean also shared this message, hoping that Matt would keep this private. You would think that privately messaging someone would mean that the DMs were kept mostly private. Instead, he sent this off to potentially more than one person. How do I know this? Well, the person he sent it off responded on his behalf. After this ticket was shortly closed, a couple days later, I sent a message into the staff channel telling them that I was leaving. I cannot genuinely explain how much stress this put me under. I entered a manic episode that lasted several days, scared my friends, and it caused a lot of stress for me. I didn't take my meds for those days, I wasn't productive, and I lost it on multiple people. I'd actually been debating leaving the server for other reasons before this. Now, how did our great and glorious Matt respond to a 17-year-old saying that they were not going to deal with an emotionally stressful situation anymore? Will he send out a calm and healthy He told me to grow up. Some people who might not understand Discord might wonder why banning is worse than being kicked. Well, you see, if you kick somebody, it leaves all their messages. When you ban somebody, it deletes it all. This is important because after this message I sent into the staff channel, I sent a message into general saying that I was leaving and that it was great meeting everybody. No mentions of this conversation, I kept it very short and sweet, didn't bring this up. The message I sent was apparently unprofessional. Wow, a 17-year-old with a mental illness known for making them impulsive and having issues regulating emotions being unprofessional? Preposterous, what an insane concept! A 20-something-year-old man can't handle the fact that a 17-year-old who has blatant mental health issues is experiencing and explicitly showing those mental health issues, after he made multiple racist comments to them. Whoa! Shocking! You know, you would think a 20-something-year-old man would not want to start beef with a child on the internet. You would think he wouldn't be so paranoid as to make an entire Google Doc. Oh, did I not mention the Google Doc? Yeah, Matt made an entire Google Doc just in case I went to Twitter with this information. To what? Villainize a 17-year-old? Is that what I'm hearing? In this Google Doc, Matt tries to say multiple times that he emphasized the importance of the cultural sensitivity rule. He didn't. He shows the same screenshots I use here, and it does not help him at all. What's super funny about this is he's trying to blame me for not responding to the situation that I knew would make me upset. Whoa, it's almost like somebody is avoiding blowing up at you and making things worse. Now, Matt tries to say here that his responses were not dismissive, that I only thought they were. I think anybody with a pair of eyeballs that can read would be able to see that that's dismissive. I think this is the funniest part. A 17-year-old acting impulsively and immaturely posting unprofessional messages. Gee, it's almost like they have some kind of disorder that causes impulsivity. Huh. Nah, that's insane to think. And stalking you is a very strong word. I checked your Twitter once so that I could block you. I didn't stalk you. I didn't say anything to anyone else. I kept this between me and my very close-knit circle of friends when it came to Reaper, because I wanted them to understand why I was so agitated and upset. But I can assure you, I didn't do anything. Nobody was trying to harass you. Nobody was trying to damage your reputation. You're paranoid. I just think it's really funny that he decides to minimize everything by not remotely thinking, maybe this Indigenous person that's mentally ill is reacting as a mentally ill Indigenous person, never bringing up the fact that I'm 17, he never brings up the fact that I'm mentally ill, and he never brings up the fact that I'm Indigenous. All things that I think give me a pretty justifiable reason for being upset. Hell, in one of his screenshots, it shows that my status at the time was beautiful princess disorder. BPD. I cannot believe the amount of paranoia from one man. You thought I was just going to go to Twitter and dump all this stuff there. Are you kidding me? But now that Reaper SMP Season 4 is starting up, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about it. You know, let the people auditioning know what you're really about. I lost friends, sleep, a good amount of my sanity, and am probably traumatized from this event. Last thing I want to say before I end this video, I have a message for you, Matt, in case you're watching. Hey, Matt. I could sit here and say that you're a horrible, garbage person and I hate you. But that would actually go against a lot of my principles and beliefs. I think it's pathetic that you tried to get other people to be on your side and be aggressive to a child. I think it's genuinely pathetic that you got this worked up about something that honestly doesn't affect you. I could sit here and say that you are a horrible, despicable person and I hope bad things happen to you. But honestly, I just want you to educate yourself. I want you to gain a brain cell for a second and develop some basic empathy and think, hey, maybe I was in the wrong. I know that's never going to happen, but you know, a man can be wishful. I was really hoping that you were going to learn and grow from the mod, but apparently that didn't happen. I just want to make it very clear. I am still upset with you. I will never accept your apologies because they are not apologies. They are you giving justifications as to why you acted a certain way. That is not an apology. I will never be kind to you about this, and I will never forgive you. I won't be explicitly hostile to you. I don't believe that that's the way to handle this. I believe that this is just simply a misunderstanding and a lack of, education. I don't think that this makes you the devil and that it makes you, the worst person on the entire planet. I just think it makes you uneducated and needing education. That's it. I don't want to start problems with you. I don't want to fight you about this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I am already covered with this dead horse's blood, guts. I'm sweating, I'm crying, and I am bleeding, and I just want to sleep. So here, there's my 2 cents. There's all of my feelings on the table. You can take it or leave it. You can throw it out the window. You can shove it up your ass for all I care. I don't care anymore. I think it's important for me to establish my feelings. Shockingly, having BPD makes me react like this. I know, what a novel concept. I have been waiting months to actually let this all out in a way that I think that you could understand. So hopefully this gets the point across. There you go! You got your aggressive Indian with BPD. Are you happy now? It feels great to get that out of my system. It's been boiling up for a while, and I was about to boil over. So yeah, Reaper SMP isn't coming back. Tohomo might make an appearance, though, in a redesign video, or maybe in the form of another character. Who knows? Now then, it's time to blow out the candles, get rid of the summoning circle, and let me take a nap. See you later, summoners. I'm gonna go lie down.